승부석 2.
Number 3. This has been the bane of many Terrans' existence, especially Byun's, but many other Terrans have fallen on this map. 2 strong Protosses, so it's normally banned. Not in this case.
Yeah, we'll see if Maru can hold off Stats in game number 3.
뉴 게티즈버그로 떠납니다.
Here we are on New Gettysburg for map number 3. Down in the bottom right in the purple, the Protoss player, he is Stats from KT Rolster.
And his opponent to the bottom left, in green, it is Maru, the Marine Prince. Now this map is banned 7 out of 20 times in this tournament for Terrans. And the only other map that was ahead of it in bans is Apotheosis, which was 9 times. And Apotheosis is Maru's map ban in this case, but because you only get 1 ban with the best of 5, he cannot avoid this map, which allows Stats to pick it early in the series. A win here on this map would put him on match point, so an intelligent map draft here by Stats, and it's very powerful against Maru the same way that Dawson Station was powerful against Stats in the previous set. So that's kind of how we have this map pool, and we're starting to see some really powerful counter picks, especially in this matchup, I'd say, more than the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, the next one after this is going to be Frozen Temple, a map that's very highly picked by Terrans and banned out a decent amount of times by Protosses. It was only picked by 1 Protoss. I wonder who that was. I mean, it's not a terrible map, but definitely, you know, Terrans are quite, you know, comfortable on a map like that. This is kind of cute. Stats trying to get into the head of Maru very early on, an early scout, and even a block here on the low ground. So Maru going to have to make that CC not in the correct location. The second he starts building it, he cancels it. So cheeky, man.
Yeah, it's going to cost Maru about that much money, or a little more with the lift time to, you know, move it over there. We want to make an orbital first and get that first mule. Then after he transforms and drops a mule, he has to lift and land again. It's definitely annoying. It's not massively significant, but it's significant enough to mention, which is why Stats did that. Now, the reason why this map is usually considered by Terrans to be Protoss favored is because there's a lot of area in the middle of the map where you can fight with large late game Protoss armies, similar to what we saw on Frost in the previous set. Because once we get past the early game, the bridge is just no longer really usable. There's easy ways for Protosses to deny drops on this map because of the islands that are kind of in the way. There's, you know, when you send a drop across, the way it's going to go is really obvious, so you can scout that with an observer a mile away, so it's hard for the Terrans to drop on this map. And if there's any air tech whatsoever, in this case, Stats is going to be going for a Stargate, it's even easier to scout and then sometimes even destroy the drop before it arrives. You can send a Void Ray to do that to stop Liberators as well. And when you go to that late game in the middle open part of the map, it's hard for Terrans to harass, and it's easy for Protosses to take a 3rd base and then later on a 4th and get that massive amount of gas that allows them to have Storm and Colossus, just like Stats had in game number 1.
Now we are going to be seeing this Oracle coming out here, and the build from Maru is kind of interesting because he's making a lot of Marines, and he is going for that early stim, so it looks like he does want to go for kind of the build that everybody says like Maru did it first, but we call it the Byun build because Byun just did it a million times in a row and really just made it his own.
And actually also advanced in tournaments this year with it.
Because
Maru
of the build, So that's why it's called the Byun build, guys. But he is going to have a lot of Marines, but some of them are at the front. We'll see if he does gather them up into the back as this Oracle timing comes through, and he does. Very nicely prepared here is Maru for this push. We'll see what kind of damage this Oracle can get done, if any.
Notice back at home Stats starts at 3rd base. Again, very greedy, very aggressive, but fairly easy to take on this map. While Maru has to be preoccupied with this Oracle. There's nothing Maru can do to pressure that base right now. Yeah. So even though he doesn't get a lot of kills with this allows him a 3rd base, so it's powerful in that way.
You know, it's more important that the Oracle stay alive than to get kills, because it's going to keep Maru back in his base, just like you're saying. You know, it's just going to be so annoying in the back of Maru's mind. He's like, well, this Oracle's out there. I got to make turrets. I got to have some units back at home to make sure, you know, that I can defend against this. It's going to delay my push. Oh, this makes me uncomfortable. And even though the Oracle only got 1 kill, it doesn't really matter because it's going to get a big advantage here for the Protoss.
He's making a Phoenix as well, which will, if placed correctly, actually shut down the drop. The way he's rallied that, though, almost makes you wonder if he's going to keep making them, and in fact, he will. Maybe just has a small contingency of Phoenixes, say 3 or 4, to shut down drops very quickly on the map. You can use those to harass later on. Usually we see 1 Void Ray.
Oh.
Nice tag here.
He sees the build with the Oracle, and then he tags the 2 medevacs, and he's like, okay, this is the key. If I can just see where these medevacs are coming from, I can defend anything, because I can get my pylons up in my 3rd base, I'll have my units in position. That revelation lasts for a long time. I'm not sure exactly how long. I think it's like 45, 60 seconds, so it's really, really long time. So Stats is going to know exactly where those units are coming from and be ready to defend here. And the 3rd base for Maru is nowhere in sight.
Also, if he has to pick up to retreat, he will not be able to do that with Phoenixes. Notice that he doesn't need to make Stalkers because he's making pure Phoenixes. So what's going to happen normally, if you have Blink Stalkers, which Stats is known for, you push this back with the Adepts, the Pylons, and then the Stalkers blink, and you might get a medevac, but it's pretty unlikely. In this case, he can shut it down hard with the Phoenixes. He's going to target this Pylon, but here come the Adepts. He can't stay here. Now, if he picks up, the Phoenixes can chase this. A 3rd dropship is coming as well, and he's making more and more Phoenixes. He's really committing to this right now. I think this is going to be his 4th Phoenix that comes out, so that can come over, help shut this down. Maru needs to be careful. If he really commits here, he will not be able to retreat, and that's something he actually doesn't know right now. He could start to guess because there's not a single Stalker in this composition. Nice snipe on this Widowmine, not even going to get the burrow off.
Kind of unfortunate, he put that right in the range of the overcharge. And now with this many Adepts that have so much health, I don't even think he has the Twilight Council out yet, so he's not going to have... Oh, hold that thought. Look at this. This drop does get caught here.
So unfortunate. Kills this Marine immediately. Maru's going to instantly turn to attack this base over here, but Adepts are better than Stalkers against Marines, and they're just going to keep fighting here. Even with Combat Shield, this is just too many Adepts. There's 16 Adepts to 15 Marines. Yeah, sorry, 16 Adepts to 20 Marines. Even that.
Yeah, and with the Guardian Shield too that he had the first time, that's why Maru was like, he saw the Guardian Shield and he's like, no, I can't go anywhere near those units.
Also the Pylons, the overcharges, the Phoenixes means he needs to get really far away.
When you said Maru was instantly going to attack, I thought you were going to say Maru was instantly going to GG, because that's kind of how I feel in this game. You know, I'm sure a lot of Terrans are looking at this map and they're like, well, what is going on? What do I do? But it is in part due to the fact that Stats is, you know, just his sense about the game is so strong. He came in and scouted. He's like, okay, what's important right now? I need to keep my Oracle alive more than anything. I need to get the Revelation on the 2 medevacs that come out because I know what the crux of this Terran build is. And because he stopped the attack, Maru's 3rd base is so late, the build that Maru chose essentially gets no damage and he gets so far behind. And now Stats he's holding the reins of this game. He can essentially do whatever he wants because he is so far ahead.
He's not going to attack because I feel like that's the only way he could lose because his army on the attack is a little bit flimsier with the Phoenixes he's made. But during this time, he will, of course, tech up to those Colossi. He's going to get Resonating Glaives. They just finished. He's going to pressure here as I say this. So, I mean, you know what? He did just add a bunch of extra gates.
He added a bunch of extra gates. He has +1 in Resonating Glaives finish. And with 3 Sentries, you get forever Guardian Shields. It's a mostly Marine army, and he knows this. And he can definitely put on some pressure, even as he takes a 4th base. It is it's still a scary Terran army. That is a lot of units, especially with the Widowmines being added in. And how high an Adept count you have to be scared of a high number of Widowmines.
I feel like this attack is, if I had to sum it up in one word, I would just say unnecessary. Because he has a 4th base coming up. He has a lot of tech coming too. Is he going to commit to this? No, he should. Better not. Also, Liberators are coming out, and he skipped Stalkers entirely. And I know Phoenixes are good against Liberators when they're in Liberation mode, but with Marines underneath them at this high count, you might just lose your Phoenixes straight up. So a tough fight to take here on the aggressive. I'd rather just wait, see him wait to get Colossus range. Now going to commit to this drop. The other turret actually not finishing, and it looks like this Prism will go down. Ouch. That's not good, but he's still finding damage here, stopping these depots, in fact, keeping Maru temporarily supply blocked here. Oh, there's a Widowmine where these are about to shade. Okay, good cancel there.
This is so cute. I mean, you can come in here, you have that +1, you can 2-shot these SCVs, and just do a bit of damage. All you're sacrificing is 2 Adepts, and as you said, the full-on attack is unnecessary, but getting a lot of economic damage done is definitely necessary if you want to win the game. It's just that extra bonus. You know, you don't have to overcommit as you take that 4th base, and the follow-up is going to be what's really, really strong. He has Colossi in the way. Every single tech you can think of. He's got Storm, Templar Archives on the way. It's pretty insane.
I think the idea here, which I really do like with that push out, was just, all right, let's make Maru take this seriously. Then he just simply sends a drop into the main. Maru was prepared for that, so props to him for that. If he didn't have those turrets, could have been a huge warp in the main, and if he steps away, he could lose his third base. So that's a lot of pressure. That's a really terrifying moment, but Maru was very well prepared. He's not cutting any corners in this game today. Ooh, this is unfortunate. Better cancel that real quick. Oh, okay.
There he goes. And this is just more annoyance, you know? He delays the fourth base. It's going to force a lot of this army to go up and actually stim to try to find those adepts. And you know, he assumes there were only two. There's two more up there in the top left that he did not clear out because he saw them shade into the third base. He's not going to be too happy about that.
Yeah, and Stats now with this Colossus count is even going to push out over here. He's clearing the bridge for perhaps a little bit more reinforcement power. 2 more adepts coming into here because they didn't remake that fourth over at that location. And this is a scary army we see here right now. 3 Colossi, and he's got good upgrades here. He's ahead of Maru right now, a whole set. And these adepts are still not dealt with. He's still getting damage with them.
This is unbelievable control from Stats in this game. Just, you know, constant, consistent adept pressure at all these different bases. And, you know, as you said, he's almost teasing Maru. He's like, I'm going to attack, I'm going to attack, I'm going to attack. But he doesn't. He cancels all the shades but 2. And then Maru's totally out of position, and he just takes another base on the back of it, whereas Maru's, you know, desperately trying to get up this fourth base, but can't.
Maru is maxed out, so he's going to start to build a small bank. I would like to see advanced ballistics. I'm not messing around. I think dealing with these Colossi with Vikings alone right now is going to be tough. He already has a large bio army with a good ratio. He's getting ship weapons for these Vikings. Advanced ballistics would also help him deal with storms, as Liberators would be, you know, away from the storms, further away. It'd be safer to use them to siege. But instead, he's going to spend his starport time on these Vikings. It's a game of catch-up he's playing right now, though, to get the ratio right. And he already has 7 Liberators. We'll see if he can actually make this work. Now, this is why the bridge is never really a good idea, but he was hoping to get greedy and sneak these adepts in. But meanwhile, this does pull Maru's army out of position momentarily, but he's reacting quickly, coming up here. And Stats is trying to attack a base he thinks is there, but Maru just simply doesn't even have another one. And we are seeing this Tempest tech coming up now as well, that Fleet Beacon there. Ooh, quick reaction there on that Templar. He didn't last very long at all, but here come the storms. And he just can't get close to these Liberators trying their best to get into range. Good angle here for Maru, though. He's actually controlled this quite well.
Yeah, very patient this time around. You know, in game number 1 on Frost, he saw an opportunity and he took it. This time around, he has to be a lot more careful, though, with the army that Stats has. And, you know, he's correctly identified the situation as well. He's not scared to take these fights, but he has to be very, very careful about how he does it.
All right, finally has this fourth base up here. Landed.
Uh-oh, look at this. All
no.
the High Templar totally impede.
He actually wants to kill those too if he can. Just not quite able to. So temporarily nullifying them, and in fact, Stats just makes these into Archons.
That's just a control mistake. He didn't have it on the right hotkey or something because they were all alone there in the middle of the map.
This happened in game 1 too, if you remember too. It didn't matter because Maru was so far behind, but this time he's got a large Liberator army and a nice concave here. But without storms, only 1 goes down. This is a fight Maru absolutely can take here, and he's going to. He's got this Viking count. He has enough bio to support it. And Stats might just lose this game right here. I think he will.
It looks like that's going to be it. I mean, the High Templar coming from the back. The storms are pretty lackluster. The rest of them were dead or made into Archons that get wiped out completely. And the entire army of Stats is now completely gone.
That's going to be game. Sending his harassing adepts back now to help defend. That's not going to be very helpful here.
Storm's 1 Liberator. That's not going to be too helpful either. And at this point, you know, just a couple of control mistakes. Stats had complete control of this game, and he was so far ahead on a Protoss-favored map. And just 1 or 2 mistakes, I mean, that's StarCraft. You know, we talk about this all the time. 1 or 2 mistakes there, 1 control mistake, you lose all your High Templar. And that's about it. Your Colossi get surrounded. They're not in a good location. And then Maru just totally wipes out your army.
Yep, and we're going to see the remainder of these Frost units get killed, and we will see a type out here, no doubt. Even trying to feed back medevacs with some of those High Templar warping. He's never going to build enough energy for storms. Vikings are clearing this up. Maru has a whole extra army. GG. He had a whole extra army coming across the map. Even if he dealt with that first one, there was no way he was going to deal with the second one. And Maru, one of very few Terrans here towards the end of 2016 to beat a top-tier Protoss on New Gettysburg.
Yeah, I mean, consider the ratio we have in this tournament alone in the round of 8. 5 Protoss, 2 Terrans, 1 Zerg.